Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. The views and opinions expressed in this video and on UMEradio YouTube channel are those of the host and or the guests and do not necessarily reflect the opinion of UMEradio YouTube channel.
Let's talk
relationships on UMEradio.
So what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business,
And love, emotions, sex.
it's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
And DJ KTE.
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UMEradio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on UMEradio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments for the grown.
Get the UMEradio app to listen wherever you are. That is UMEradio, one word.
UME Radio. Positive entertainment 24/7. Subscribe on YouTube and click the notification bell.
Hey. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'm Lady Misty. How are you?
Hello.
All right. We are back.
I'm not
We're
bad.
back.
How are you?
I am doing fantabulous. Had a very interesting weekend.
Great.
For some weird reason, I'm
Okay.
just sweating. I feel this extra sweat coming on here, but I got my backup. I got a backup plan. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, great.
So if you see me wiping all night, it's just me doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of sweaty right now. The fan is on. I hope it's not disturbing anybody, but I'm here to have a good time. So let the sweat roll. I'm excited. Yes.
That's right.
So,
I am here with you.
yes.
I'm here with you.
So, Lady Misty, I make sure I brought my cup of cool down, and I make sure I have my rag again, and because tonight may get a little excited, a little hot tonight. So in case it gets a little extra hot, DJ KTE is ready to rumble.
Okay, ready to go. I think I have a bottle of water near me somewhere. But
You know
yes.
what? Make sure you put ice in that water. Makes it to make it extra cool. You know what I'm saying? You just
Make it
may need.
extra cool.
Yes.
I just may need it.
Yeah, I'm
So,
telling you.
greetings, 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 everybody. We're here. Welcome back to the show. It's another Monday night, so it is time for LTR. Let's talk relationships. Thank you so much for joining us
Uh-huh.
here on Umi Radio. So, as you know, here we explore the dynamics and evolution of relationships, identify challenges, offer perspectives through transformative conversations. And this is all to inspire positive relationship outcomes in our communities. So, are you looking forward to a great show? Yes, I sure am.
I'm telling you, man. We've
And
been
of
having
course,
some.
we start.
Yeah, Lady Misty, we've been having some great shows lately with some really exciting shows, man. Some with some real engaged audience here. So it's been great. It's been
Listen,
exciting.
I tell you,
Ah.
that's right. So we start as usual with an attitude of gratitude. So we want to say a big thank you to all our partners, supporters, listeners, and viewers from all over the world. And I want to say a big shout out to all those who are in the YouTube. So, on my YouTube tribe, thank you so much for joining us, and over there on Facebook as well. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for keeping our company. We are happy that you are here. So, we know you could be so many other places and
Mm-hmm.
in other spaces right now, but you've
You're
chosen
here.
to spend the time with us. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right over here with us. And of course, we value your time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll jump right into it. Thanks to our amazing and inspiring guests.
Mm-hmm.
But just before we bring them on to the panel and we talk about tonight's topic, of course, here are some reminders. Again, welcome to the show. This is Let's Talk Relationships here on Umi Radio. I am Lady Misty. I'm so sorry you can't see me. I think my internet works better when you can't see me. I don't know what's up with that. But I'm happy you can hear me. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm Lady Misty, and I am, of course, here with my amazing, amazing co host.
The DJ KTE is in the house tonight. Yes. So I'm making up the live for you not being live in the physical part of it, right? So
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank
I'm
you. You know,
excited.
I can't fly on one wing, so I know that. Yes.
There you go. And it's September 13th, 2021. And the time is approximately 9:05 p.m. on a Monday night here in New York City. I'm excited.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Of course, you can listen or watch this or any other episodes later on. So you can listen to Yumi Radio on all major digital platforms, including our
Platforms.
app.
Yeah.
So it is app at umiradio.com. It's on the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. We can be found there. We can also be found on iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google, Podbean, TuneNews, Spotify, Stitcher, Player FM, and Listen Notes. Listen, we are everywhere, okay? We are
Everywhere. And that's
everywhere.
just to name a few. There's more that we're not naming, but that's okay. That's enough to let you know that we're out there, and we're happy that folks are
Yeah, that's
tuning in and they're watching from
okay.
where they are. You know, it's amazing how we're in this technical digital age where people can be so particular about where and how to listen to things. But the good thing is that they're listening, and hopefully that they're being inspired, motivated, encouraged, uplifted, and that's what we're all about.
That's
Yes, indeed.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right, so before we get into our topic for tonight, of course, we'd like to share a little info with you on self-mastery with Dr. Wanda Thomas. So we're going to turn on the lights. So here is tonight's spotlight.
Helping to make dreams become a reality. That is her mission. Today, we are here to introduce you to a phenomenal woman of God, an ordained minister, counselor, speaker, licensed wedding officiant, a certified chaplain. She holds a doctorate in theology, master's in pastoral counseling and divinity, and a bachelor's in psychology, along with certifications in Christian counseling, mental health, adolescent behavior, and family counseling. So I'd like to speak to you a little about your work with families and couples. When I visited your website, greatwisdomunlimited.com, powerful name by the way, I learned a lot about you, and one of the things that piqued my interest was the term self-mastery. You help people master self. What does that entail?
Well, first, before you can help anyone or make suggestions or advise anyone, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. Michael Jackson said it better, look at the man in the mirror. Before you can talk about opinions and judging others, you need to see where you stand first. Are you right within self? Not only your outer appearance, but your spiritual realm, your mind, how you react to life itself. How do you react to things that may affect you in a negative way? How do you handle those things? Whatever it may be, whether it's your intimate lover or just a child, how do you handle, whether a coworker? We have etiquette for everything. So how do you handle the worst of worst situations? So for someone to master themselves, you have to find you, what makes you tick. Who are you really? Until you really know who you are, you're going to struggle. You have to be transparent, and you have to really be honest with self. What do you like? What don't you like? What when this person say this, how do you respond? How do you feel? How do you react? And so you have to know self. I know me. I bind my tongue. Trust me. I bind my tongue at times because I want to react. What did God say? I'm reading this Bible over and over. I'm doing shows over and over, and I'm telling people and giving them advice, and here I am acting a fool. So I have to constantly revise myself, reposition myself. So when I give advice and opinion, trust and believe when I tell you, I'm giving it to you from my own perspective, from what I had to experience, and it worked. God worked. Not you, but God. Yes, we love our family and friends and all of this advice they give, but the key puzzle is God. And without Him, you're going to crash and burn. You can't do any of this stuff. Yeah, we have the skill set. God had blessed us. He said, I'll do this. If you just trust in me, trust in all your ways, lean not to your own understanding, I'll direct your path. All of those things are wonderful. Don't make them a cliche. Don't get the game crooked. He still gave us free will, and we still got to live in this world that is very negative. And so we have to pull out the best in us.
So how important would you say self-mastery is for couples?
Oh, wow. That is a big plus when it comes to couples. Depending on every situation is really different. A new couple, an old couple. The old couples, you've been in a relationship forever. You got to rebuild yourself. You got to redevelop yourself because you may be getting bored with one another. You got your new couple. They're now running on feelings and emotions and all of this infatuation, and they don't understand in a couple of years or whatever, that's going to die. You're going to have to reinvent yourself again because what got you there and what made you happy there, stuff's going to change. Life's going to change. Life changes happen, and it makes you reinvent yourself all the time.
Indeed. So my final question is, how does someone book your services?
call me up. Go to my website, send me an email. You can text me. You can call me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
You guys. Continue to keep up the good work.
Thank you. You can contact Dr. Wanda Thomas at great, and that's GR8 wisdomunlimited@yahoo.com. Great Wisdom Unlimited @yahoo.com. On LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and at www.great, once again, GR8 wisdomunlimited.com. Or you can call at 1732-900-7362. That's 1732-900-7362. Or email us at info@UMEradio.com. Until next time, I'm Trisha Gay Kelly.
Hey America, this is Chaplain Wanda Thomas. Listen to Wanda Road to Success with Great Wisdom Unlimited every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time during the Gospel Connection on WNJRradio.com, America's hottest web radio experience. This web radio program offers you information and tools that will help you to become empowered with skills for successful life outcomes. With so many different ways you can listen, you're going to love the way we sound. And now we're on Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play WNJR, be blessed, and get connected to us.
All right. That was our spotlight, Lady Wanda Thomas, Dr. Wanda Thomas.
Yes.
And she has some good stuff. I see you. Good evening, every entertainer. I saw Satin Brown in the room. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We are happy that you're here. So tonight we are moving with the speed of light tonight because we got quite a few things to cover tonight.
Yes, we
so
do.
Our topic for tonight is
drum roll,
please.
There we go.
All right, 114 conversation starters for couples, from deep to sexy. All right, from an article written by contributing sex and relationship editor by Kelly Gonzalez.
That sounds interesting, Lady Misty.
Yes. So Kelly Gonzalez is a multi-certified sex educator and relationship coach based in Brooklyn, as well as the sex and relationship editor at Mind Body Green. She has a degree in journalism. Now, we're talking about conversation starters tonight, and as you know, communication is important in any relationship. It doesn't have to be sexual in nature, just relationships on a whole. Yes. So as it relates, as it allows you to effectively share feelings, opinions, and expectations. So many people fail to communicate due to fear of rejection, and trust me, I know what that feels like. I can totally relate to that. Or fear that they'll end up upsetting or losing their partner. There you go again. My hand is raised. I can totally agree with that and relate to that. All right. Or their family members or friends. Now, I want to share with you very interesting information that I read. So lifestyle website yourtango.com polled 100 mental health professionals and found that communication problems was cited as the most, listen guys, cited as the most common factor that leads to divorce. And that's up to 65%.
Yeah.
Followed by
that was scary. I saw that too. Yeah.
To resolve conflict, 4%. Listen, that's a lot. Okay. Yeah. So 70% of the experts surveyed said that men cite nagging and complaining as a top communication problem in their marriage. I wonder if I'm a nagging person. I don't know. Somebody ask my husband.
Ask your husband. Gotta ask him now. See what happens. I'll find out.
Women's top complaint was that their spouse doesn't validate their opinions or feelings enough.
Oh boy.
Yeah, please ask him.
I will.
And so women's complaint was that their spouses doesn't validate their opinions or feelings enough, according to 83% of experts. Wow. So John Gottman, a professor from the University of Washington, who conducted research on couple behavior for 40 years, has suggested that there are 4 types of communication problems that can lead to divorce. So they are criticism
of partners. Criticism of partners.
Yes, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, and that is the refusal to communicate at all. Wow. So listen, that's a whole lot. That's a mouthful, but that is the information out there. Yeah. So we're jumping right in. So tonight we have 2 special guests who will be joining the conversation tonight as we seek to empower you, our amazing audience. So please welcome our returning guest and our producer from the past year or so, Marsha J.
Marsha J in the house.
Welcome, hi guys. Good night. Welcome back, Lady Misty.
Yes.
Hi. She will be leading us for new adventures, and we celebrate her as she goes. Yes, and also we have Miss Tina Devon. I hope I pronounced her name correctly.
You did.
Yeah, we go. Well, thank you. Welcome.
Hey. She is the author of the book Preparing Yourself for Your Mate with God as your foundation. Exciting. Listen, that's a powerful title. So good night, ladies. Welcome to Let's Talk Relationships. How y'all doing?
Great. Awesome. How are you?
So we have one returning guest and we have one new guest. So that's a good contrast there. So there's no saying, women have a thread that whether they're new or not, there's a thread that runs too. So that's a woman's night, power night tonight. So I'm excited to hear what they're going to be sharing with us on their responses. Lady Misty, hopefully we can surprise them, right, and have them shake a little bit. You think we can have them shake a little bit tonight? A little surprise there, See how they bat it out and whatever it is.
I hope so. So tonight we're talking about deep conversation starters for couples. So we are jumping right in. So we're starting with the deep and then we're moving to the sexy. All right. So we are creating that foundation. So I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever used these conversation starters before? Are they tacky to you? Do you have any of your own? But we are going to be running through the ones that we have here. So the first one says, what's your relationship with your parents like?
So Lady Misty, pause one second. So pretty much, if you can grab your mental pen and paper, right? No, in the digital age, in this computer age, grab your digital pen and paper, and not sure which one of these questions may peek out to you or may hit you a certain kind of way when we read them off to you. All right, there's a lot of questions here, so we want to over cloud your mind, but you may get a pen or may make a mental note or a physical note of it, so we can now see which one and how it connects with you and how you want to relate to that particular thought. So go ahead, Lady Misty.
Yes, and also thank you, DJ KTE. Also, we want to have our audience chime in. So listen, if you have any of your own, please type them in the chat. Let's read them. Or if any of these stand out at you and say, I used that last week. I used that today. I used that last night. Come on, let's hear it. We are here for it. All right. So here are some, and just reading through these questions are, and you may agree or disagree with me, ladies, and you're free to chime in at any time. These are questions that we usually ask, at the beginning of a relationship. Things like, what is your relationship with your parents like? Do you want to be more or less like your parents? Have you ever been in love before? Has anybody ever asked you that
Wow,
question?
are you the killer?
I
Do you
see
see
one.
Tell
that?
it like it is. Go on, keep on reading. Keep on reading.
Are you the killer? I don't think nobody, no killer nowhere is going to answer this question honestly.
Have you killed
Nowhere.
before? Oh boy.
Have you killed it? Yes, I have. I've killed some mosquitoes. I'm killing mosquitoes right over here in Jamaica. All right. Yeah. So let me just read these, and then we will talk about them briefly. So we spoke about, what is your relationship with your parents like? Have you ever been in love before? Tell me a story of your first love. Is there a story there? Is there no story there? If you could make money doing anything in the world, what would it be? What would you do? What are the 5 things you couldn't live without?
You couldn't live without. Yeah. Okay.
What's an article of? Yes, you couldn't. What's one article of clothing you could never part with? Nobody has ever asked me that question ever. All right. And who's someone in your life that you really look up to? What's one of your most cherished memories? And I'll stop at number 10, and then we just jump right in. Have you
we're gonna read them
ever
all. We're gonna
hurt
read them
someone?
all. We're gonna read them all.
Okay, we can read them all.
Oh yeah, read them all.
Okay. I hope they can remember all of them.
Because we have a lot. We have a lot. That's why you can keep a mental note in a pen, so you can
So
check the one.
You just stick the pin at the one that jumps out at you. So here's one. Here's one. Have you ever hurt someone and deeply regretted it? Did you ever make amends? That's number 10. So moving to number 11. What's the meaning of life? What's your purpose in life? That's a very good one. Do you believe in the afterlife? That's an interesting one as well.
I like that.
Yeah. Do you like your life right now? If not, what's keeping you from changing it? Now, what people have made you who you are today? What experiences have made you who you are today? When did you last cry in front of another person or by yourself? I cried this morning. I can tell you that right now.
I cried.
I cried today.
I've cried. Okay.
Have you ever felt very strongly about something and then eventually changed your mind about it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is your best quality? What do you think is my best quality? What quality do you want to nurture more in yourself? Do you have a good relationship with your body? Interesting questions.
Let me check and see if I got something going on here.
Do you find it easier to give or receive? What's one dish or meal that reminds you of home?
Oh my goodness, that's mine. That's right there. Yes.
Yes. Have you ever broken up with a friend? What makes you anxious? What does happiness mean to you? If you no longer had to work to live comfortably, what would you be doing with your life? What's one thing in your life you're struggling with right now? And number 30, what's one thing in your life that you're grateful for?
Wow.
So, 30 questions. Let's see. Let's hear from our guests. Which one jumped out at you? So, I see Marsha J smiling away, so I'm going to start with Marsha J.
Yeah, maybe a whole lot jumped out of her. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a whole lot jumped out. So, like, I don't know what to pick because half of those are mine. Because I would cry last night. Okay, Marsha, talk to us.
Okay, all right. So good night, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. Greetings, Lady Tina. It's so great to have you on the program tonight. So, questions that pop out at me. Do you have number 22? Do you have a good relationship with your body?
Wow.
I'll start there.
Talk to us.
As I am a plus size girl, so I have a history with my body. Okay. And I think now I'm at a place where, I am, it's more about acceptance. It's not about being the skinny girl or, it's loving yourself where you are and making sure that inside you're feeling super great. So I think now where I am now versus where I'm coming from, I'm way ahead. I'm way ahead and I'm loving it.
So Marsha J, would you ask a question to a partner? Are you comfortable with my body, with my look?
Actually, I have asked that question during the period I was dating. And I had two experiences. One where the person loved my personality, but they quite didn't accept my body.
What you say now?
Right. And so, for instance, when we went out on a date or we were on a phone call, he would be like, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? Have you lost weight? Have you gained weight? That sort of conversation, which was very rude, if you ask me. But he was indirectly saying, listen, I like you, but I don't like your body. And for those ladies out there who experience things like that, it is a definite red light that you want to look into. I have experienced the opposite, where I've dated persons and they're like, oh my God, your body is just voluptuous and I love full-figured women and things like that. So, if the person you're dating doesn't accept you for who you are, where you are, even if you plan on going on a journey, then I don't think they're for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Marsha J, I'd like, as this may sound, many women in particular struggle with their self-image, their bodies, their size. And of course, in a culture that's very hyper look, how you look and the body type and, your physique. So we know already it's a high sensitivity in that area. So
it is.
Yeah. So now, and it's funny because I've seen women who look great. I thought they were great. And they still were like more and more. It's like more and more, chip me down more, cut this. So I'm like, it's fine. And somehow in their minds, it just wasn't quite enough. So what you're saying there is actually, it's a reality for many people in relationships, in marriages. The people probably who have heard recently could have died because one spouse realized that, kept chipping away at this person's look and gain weight, eat this and do that, and the person could have passed away.
True.
So it is for real. It's for real. Yeah. So
yes, and I've seen it. I've witnessed it at restaurants too, where one partner is telling the other one, "Oh, don't eat that," or you're not supposed to be eating that because look at your butt, or you see, you can't hold on the chair. I have heard it with my own ears, seen it with my own eyes, and while it is very disappointing, we need to really have that conversation with our spouses about body love, body love.
Yes.
Yes.
So true.
Yeah.
And things can happen because for me, I was on hormones for a very long time. I've gotten injections in my head and so on because I had an illness and I was taking tablets that would have caused me to also gain weight. But what could I have done about that? Nothing, because your health comes first. Wow. You understand? And all of these things make you have side effects and things like that. Mentally, yes, it does work on you. But if you don't have the support of people around, hey, we know this is happening. you can do this, love yourself where you're at, that sort of thing. And I've been very blessed to have people that say, girl, yes, in those moments when I felt weak, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my size now, like, girl, you're fabulous, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that. And it's not just the girl with the pretty face. It's just, oh, you look nice for a fat girl. I've heard so many comments.
Sometimes, I must say that if he's interested in the topic, then it might be easy to talk to him about it. But if he's uninterested, then it might be hard to talk to him about it. And I must say, on some occasions where we might have problems in the relationship and we have to talk about those problems, he might not always be up for it. But in the end, we kind of just get through it and we discuss it and it turns out to be fine. But getting him to actually start talking about it, it might be hard. But yeah, that's it.
Interesting. Yeah. So you heard Martha J talk about her 22. And I would like to hear what Tina Devon has to say, what struck her about these questions that were posed.
It's a little bit noisy back here now. I actually came into the lobby, but I thought I was going to get a little, But anyway, I think one that stuck out to me was one thing that I struggle with. One thing that I struggle with is actually receiving. I have an issue receiving. I am such a giver, and I've always been such a giver. It's just so hard for me to receive. Give me just a second. I'm just not sure. I've always, and I am great. And another thing that I'm grateful for, I am grateful for my struggles. I'm grateful for my ups. I'm grateful for my downs, because that is what formed my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So in other words, you're flipping around those struggles. And many people don't. They actually stay in that place. And you hear books, and a lot of people have books inside them who might be watching now, and they might be looking at their story as if, wow, what do I have? But you have a story, and the story itself is to me, it's priceless. It's what we use to affect other lives. Yeah, and I can appreciate that. We have a lot of questions tonight, and we're gonna just go through them, and there are different segments here. So, Lady Misty, I'm gonna take the other part 2, and see what we can come up with here with some responses. Lady Misty, yes, sure. Yeah. So let me just say part 2.
I'm here.
Yes.
All right. I don't know.
So part 2 says romantic conversation starters for couples. And the first question is, what initially made you interested in me? Number 2, how did you know you were in love with me? Number 3, is there anything about a relationship that feels totally unique to us? Number 4, where do you see our relationship going? Number 5, what does marriage mean to you? Number 6, how do you feel about big proposals? I've seen some big ones in my days. 7, how do you think our relationship will change if we get married? That's a very common one. 8, what does it mean to be a good partner? Number 9, what's your love language? That's a big one. What's the most romantic movie you've ever seen? What's a song that reminds you of our relationship? Number 12, do you believe in love at first sight? 13, do you believe in soulmates? What about twin flames? Oh, that's a new one. 14, when we are apart, what do you miss most about me? 15, what's your most precious memory of me? 16, what do you love most about your daily life together? Number 17, what kinds of things will we be doing 10 years from now, 20 years from now in retirement? 18, and this last question for this segment here, for this particular part 2. And 18 says, what would we do in retirement together? Okay, Master J. Lots of questions again. Anyone struck you? Yeah, I think you're muted. Not sure
Yes,
why.
thank you for that.
There
I
we
was
go.
saying before we go, I think there's a YouTube comment.
Hey, there is?
Yes,
Well,
it says, hi Tina, did your book cover any of these questions?
Yes.
Hi, Re-Entertainer.
Hey, does my book cover some of these topics? Yes. Yes, I would love to go into it, but I want you to buy it. But yes, it does. It does.
Okay, very good. Very good. That's good.
Yeah, I think these are very, 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 very deep questions.
Valid, yeah.
I think these questions are necessary, especially before. I think these are questions you should ask, like in counseling sessions and in sessions before you actually get married, because like one of my questions that jump out at me is your love language. If I don't know your love language, it's going to be hard for us to communicate on that kind of a level. So that's a very good question for me. That's quite a few questions jumped out at me, but that one jumped out at me. So let me hear from you, ladies. Marsha J, you're about to begin, so go ahead.
Yes. I think the question that jumps out to me, is how do I feel about big proposals? I am tempted to acknowledge that what's on the screen. Satin Brownie, the last one is interesting. Definitely agree with that too. But number 6, how do you feel about big proposals? I don't think the marriage has to do with the type of proposal, whether it's big or small. You know, it's the value. The value, you know, are you really seeing me as the person for you? And what does the big proposal mean? I guess my mind kind of works a little bit different. Does the big proposal mean that you really love me as opposed to a smaller proposal? What does that mean? Because really and truly, it's from the heart. Because what if the person really does love you, but they may not have the wherewithal to grant a big proposal? What then? What does that say about us, about the relationship? You know, Satin Brownie says, privacy, I love privacy, no surprises. I feel
and that's okay, and that's okay too. That's okay too.
You know, I've done a few social events around the city, and seen some very tiny, small, almost insignificant proposals, and some extravagant ones. But it would appear as if the ones who are bigger is just an emotion that's so strong. They're trying to master emotion, how they feel about this person or this news, whatever it is. And I think most times, and I think at the end of the day, it's really about how they maintain their level of connection or connectivity during the relationship, because you have this big explosion and then it kind of dies over. So that's where I think people have to really look at how they continue on after those moments. But I've seen those, and I've seen small ones, and they're, if not careful, more significant. They have more meaning to it, more depth. You can feel it. But to each their own, I would say. So someone asking, how do I get the book?
There's a question for you.
Someone's asking, how do I get the book?
Then we run into the
Yes. Someone's asking, how do I get the book?
Okay, I'm here.
Tina.
So you can go to Amazon. It's on pre-order right now. So it's on Amazon, and you just type in my first and last name, Tina Devon, and prepare yourself for your mate, and it'll pop up.
Okay. Thank you.
Have I ever found it hard to communicate with my spouse?
All right, we are running into
I think I have. Sometimes they are really hard to talk to. Them not take shot, them just don't want to talk about a certain thing, and you have to move on. And there are other times when it's easy for you to, just work your way in and talk about what you want to. But I have found it hard to explain myself sometimes, especially when I am uncomfortable about the situation. But I don't know how to start. I don't know what to say, and I don't want to upset him. So I have to think about it. Sometimes it takes days for me, and if it's a really hard topic to talk about, it may take weeks or even months. So really, I have had that experience.
Interesting.
Interesting. I've had that experience as well. I think I still do sometimes with my husband because I don't think he's very easy to talk to with some conversation. So it gets some working into no, and that's just the truth. So it takes maybe not months, but a couple of days, probably a week before you get into the conversation. But hey.
But listen, once you get into the conversation, it's important as well. You don't want to never have the conversation.
Right.
So
and it's usually
late, but it's important to have.
Usually easier for me. I usually feel it better once the conversation is out there. Okay. I'm on edge and all of that until it's spoken about. All right. So we are moving with the speed of light and we're going into the sexy questions. All right. So let's see. And listen, before I go there, listen, these are questions that you need to ask, okay? I just wish that some of these questions somebody would ask me, okay? And I wish I had asked some of these questions. All right, here we go. So, what's your favorite part of my body? What part of my body do you want to explore more? What part of your body do you want me to explore more? What's the hottest memory you have of us? If you could live one of our sexual experiences, which would you choose? Okay, I was just thinking about one. Okay, all right. But I'm not going to tell you guys. Okay, so which is better, morning sex or sex at night? I think morning sex is better, but that's me. All right. So what does it mean to be good in bed? Fast or hard or slow and gentle? What's the hottest sex position? Well, to you, sex position that's most likely to make you orgasm. And I see the people out there just all getting flushed and all that, but don't worry, these questions you've got to ask. Okay, now, where is the wildest place you've ever had sex? Can I tell you guys? No, I'm not going to tell you guys. No, I'm not going to tell you my business. All right, what would be a really hot place for us to have sex? Now, how would you feel about people watching us having sex? What's your go-to masturbation routine? If you masturbate, if that's a thing for you. Yeah, I can't tell you either, Trisha. I see you're coming, and I can't tell you either. Okay, the internet would just shut down. Okay,
oh Lord.
So, what kind of porn, and this is if you're into porno, what kind of porn turns you on? What's your dirtiest sexual fantasy? What's a very ordinary thing that just really turns you on? I can tell you that when a man smells good. If a man smells good, oh my God. Okay. All right. This is not about me. All right. So how do you feel about being tied up or tying me up? Do you like to be spanked or the idea of spanking me? And number 20, what would you like to see me dressed in on a special sexual occasion?
So,
all right.
So wait, so Lady Misty,
I see Satin Brown over there say, "Spank me, yes, spank me." Oh
yeah,
my God.
let me just go back here. So hold up. Let me just kind of roll down this script here. So first we had questions about about conversations, right? Conversation, deep conversations. And then we talked about what else? Romantic conversation starters, right?
Yeah.
And now we're dealing with what? We're dealing with sexy questions to ask your partner.
Yes.
So your partner means your wife, your spouse, right? Is that what we talk? It doesn't matter. We talk about your wife and spouse, right? Because as I heard you read these questions, Lady Misty, what came to mind was that I work in a high school, and when I came from Jamaica, I was about 15 years old and started high school. I was a country boy, totally sheltered. Practically born in church. Didn't know what most of these words were or things were. And so when I went to the high school in the city, I'm seeing everybody with a date, the girlfriend. I'm like, what is this? But I'm thinking, they're not married. Why are they kissing and doing these things? I'm going down the hallway and I'm seeing flashing stuff happening, and it got even worse as I came a little older. Got a little older and was now in a year later on in the Bronx, in another high school. And everyone has their phones. What was being shown in the hallways. And I also see girls from church who apparently didn't know much about these things were being exposed. Sudden camera flashing, phone screens showing stuff, even to staff, out of the blue. Sexy images, naked people. I'm like, what's going on? So the reality is that these questions here that we're asking, it is so prevalent within our world, in our school system, and these are considered minors. They're asking this question. They're sending, what's your favorite position? What is this? What is that?
That's true.
And our kids will go to church.
That's true.
Sadly enough,
what is quite unfortunate to DJ KTE. What's quite unfortunate too is that many of us adults in relationships and so on don't ask these questions. All right, but our young people ask each other these questions in relationships.
Yes, they do.
And so those of us who are in marriages and those of us who are in long-term relationships, we don't ask these questions, and then I may like something, you don't like it, and so it creates a rift, or it causes problem. But none of these questions were asked. I see Satin Brown talking about divorce courts, and questions are important. Questions and actions are different, and that is so true.
Yes,
and I saw a question on YouTube as well. I think it was every entertainer that was talking about at what stage we ask this question. If your husband is a pastor, if your wife is a pastor. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do in life. These questions are important because, to me, that is a job. Okay, you're not married to the job. You're married.
Yeah, I think you broke up a little bit there, Lady Misty. But Marsha J, as I was watching and I saw you expressing in your face, I heard the words, huh? What is Kristen coming from? It was like I'm a woman of God here. I don't come for to ask this question. What are you asking here? I read your thoughts. Now tell me, am I right or am I wrong? Tell me something more. Talk to us about this question. Tell me what you think.
Before we even go there, Keith, we I think we have a vox pop. So let's go to the vox pop and cool down and then come back.
There we go.
So I do not find it difficult to start a conversation with my spouse, and this is probably because in the beginning we have set up our relationship in a way that we tell each other everything. Whenever something is bothering us, we talk about it. If we have an issue, or if we have a problem, if we have a suggestion, an idea, whatever it is, we have set up our relationship in such a way that we come to each other immediately and talk about whatever is on our minds, and we express ourselves and we come to a conclusion. So because that has been a constant habit, nothing is ever really difficult to talk about or to start up at any point in time, whether we're having dinner or we're out or we're sleeping. At no point in time is it ever difficult or challenging for us to start a conversation.
Interesting, Vox Pop. All right. So there's a question in the comment that actually caught my attention from every entertainer, and they said, seriously, how do I ask these if my husband is a pastor? Unfortunately, people tend to think that pastors don't have feelings. My dad is a pastor. I have dated pastors. But the truth is, people are people first before they're anything else. And I do believe that if you are working on being close or have intimacy on any level, some of these questions are bound to come up, and you should be in a place where you're comfortable with each other to have these conversations, especially closer to marriage or within premarital counseling, things like that. Whatever the boundaries are, you know what the boundaries are, or decide what those boundaries are. But it shouldn't be that, because the person is a pastor, you can't have that conversation. Then that doesn't, I'm not even sure what to think about that, really.
Wow. Tina, any thoughts?
I couldn't really hear her because it was going in and out. Yeah. I think I saw the question. It was saying, how do I ask these questions if my husband is a pastor? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, that came up, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because, hey, I am a woman of God, and I was looking at these questions, and I'm like, okay. And the first thing that came in my mind was, my body is a temple of the Holy Ghost. So, my body is sacred. And I believe when God puts two people together, then we will, like going back to the love languages, we will configure those love languages together, because in a relationship that God puts together, I believe it'll just work out.
So what I'm hearing you say, which is interesting, is that because I grew up, understanding what God put together, and trusting to give it the right spouse, and have him, give it a partner for life. He knows what's best for you, what works for you. But I'm also hearing faith without works is dead. I'm hearing where we take action, initiatives. It gives us wisdom, and it gives us insights. It allows us to probe, ask questions. So what's the balance? How would you treat that balance in marrying someone? I give an example. There's someone who got married to someone, real true story. And when they got married, they find that the body part was so big that not even a baby could have been had. And the lady decided to divorce. She said, I'm not going to see it. It's not important. He's a male. He looks like a male. He has a beard. I don't need to go down there. He's a man. But when they got married, it was so huge that they could not have intercourse.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, true story. And it's, some are more unheard of, but it actually happened. So if they had only maybe looked into that area of it, whether it was a controlled environment or not, then it might have avoided that situation. Yeah. But how would you treat the conversation and what's appropriate to even ask? As you mentioned, the body of Christ, opposed to just let things go until you get married, trust God, and just he'll, is that what you're saying? Or
it doesn't work like that. We have, oh gosh, I don't want to tell everything that's in the book. So
no, just a tip. Just a tad bit of it.
Okay, just you have to ask questions. And when you ask questions, you have to ask them in wisdom.
Yes.
Okay. We use wisdom in everything. And plus, us being Christians or whatever whatever relationship we have with God, we have discernment. And we know when a person's telling us the truth. We know when a person's telling us a lie. But when God puts something together, this will work out. What you were telling me earlier about, the scenario, I don't believe that was God at all.
Well, maybe they thought it was.
Well, that's when you have to, God is my foundation. You have to go back and build a relationship with God to make sure that you're actually hearing God and not yourself. Because a lot of times, us being human, we see something that we like, And, we think it's God, but it's not. It's really us.
I have a question to ask you, Tina, and maybe I'm probing a little bit here. We tend to be, as believers, or people who believe in God as creator. Yes, thank Misty. You back, Misty? I think I hear you, Misty, Lady Misty. Yeah, we tend to think that when things come out in the positive way as we see it, it's God, but it comes out in a negative way, it's not God. And so it's a bit of a, interesting kind of way of looking at things, because there are people who died for the gospel, and they died in a very violent way. Some were, the disciples were head was cut off, and thinking, I'm serving God, and why am I cut off? Some were thrown to the lion, animals to be eaten, and they were serving God. So
everyone's different,
right? I mean, I know. I'm just kind of getting your point of view in that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, everyone's different on that part. When it comes to faith, let's just use COVID, for example. Some people, Christians are getting COVID. Buddhists are getting COVID. Like, everyone's getting COVID. Some of us lived, some of us died. Some of us are healed. Some of us are healed on the other side. That's what I believe as a Christian. I believe that either way, God's going to heal you. Either it's with him or it's on earth.
Interesting point. Well taken. Any thoughts on that, Marsha? You want to chime in there a little bit?
Definitely agree with. Yeah, I know my audio is going in and out, but I agree with Lady Tina there. Definitely time and place for everything, and you have to be very measured in what you answer, because you don't want to start something up that you can't cool down. Just saying.
Oh, watch it now. Yes. I hear you. Understood.
Right.
Yes.
And I think we're going on to part 4, Keith.
I think we are. I think Lady Misty's having some difficulty here, but let's try to move on. Hopefully
sure. Would you mind me doing the honor of reading?
You know what? That'll be cool.
I would like
that. Go right ahead.
Okay. So for this last section, we have funny conversation starters, right? So question number 1, what reality TV show would you be on? Number 2, what's the worst or weirdest date you've ever been on? 3, what's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to you while having sex with someone? 4, if you were an animal, what kind would you be? 5, who is your celebrity crush? 6, who was your celebrity crush as a teenager? I could think about 5. 7, what celebrity would play you in a movie about your life? 8, what would be the title of your autobiography? 9, what is your soul age?
Interesting.
10, have you ever dated someone who was a bad kisser? 11, do you have any moves when it comes to flirting or dates? 12, what was your first email address? Interesting.
Yes.
13, do you believe in ghosts? 14, have you ever had any unexplainable or supernatural experiences? 15, if you are a social media influencer, what would you be known for? 16, when and how did you first discover masturbation, if you ever did? 17, what's something you were weirdly into for a very long period of time? 18, would you survive a zombie apocalypse?
What is question?
No, I would not.
I think we have Lady Misty's back. Awesome. Lady, I can hear you.
I'm back.
Oh, wow. It's funny. I'm reading all these right here, and it's like, what I like number 9, if I can say that. It said, what is your soul age? And it's funny because when I was younger, they said I had an old soul, right? But now that I'm older, I feel very young in my soul. Like I feel very young, like a kid sometimes, you know? And I guess working in the high school for so long, you know, around these young kids, you know, they kind of rub off on you, you know? They're very energetic and always, you know, in this hyper thing going on. So that I feel very young in my soul, even though I'm not a teen anymore. Much way past that. What do you say, Tina? Anyone strike you?
Oh yes, the supernatural experiences. That one struck me because I've had quite a bit of those.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Talk about it, Tina.
Okay, like being a prophetic voice, you go through some things in order for God to train you and teach you on how to use your gift. So, I am a seer. So I have visions and I have dreams. So I have actually seen, well, I can't say I've seen a ghost, but I've actually had an experience where I was laying in the bed and I was sleeping and I woke up out of my dream and I could see my body on top, my spirit lift out of my body on top of my body. And I could see spirits around my bed. Because I remember previously I had asked God, why do I wake up feeling this way? Why do I wake up feeling like I've been touched? Why do I wake up and feel like, you know, something's been laying on me? And the Lord had, you know, spoke to me and told me, you know, how to pray and cover, you know, my body and my house and how to keep things out of my ear and keep things out of my eye gate. And just one night I had that dream and God showed me the spirits that were actually around my bed trying to, you know, touch me at night. So that was one of my supernatural experiences.
Wow. You know, I think nothing happens for a big thing by chance. And as I heard this speak a while ago, Tina, it kind of just, I felt in my spirit to say this to the audience and those who are listening, is that we look at so many questions here tonight that we ask, and yet they may be important to ask at some point. Some may not be. But what came to my mind is this, is that despite those questions, how much are we asking about the God questions? Are we asking, what's my purpose in life? Are we asking questions like, what's the will for my life? Are we asking questions like, Lord, do I need to go on a fast? Are we asking questions like, what church do I need to go to? What ministry do I need to serve under? You see? So that checked in my spirit. So yet these questions that we ask tonight, they may be important, but they're more carnal minded, they're more carnal based, they're more human based. So now we should always remember that although we're in a real world with human elements and human desires, there is another component to our life, which is a spiritual life, and how do we treat that? You know, many people ask the question, why was I born? It's almost innate in as far as we look at it. Why was I born? Why am I here for? Those are powerful questions. And I think that as you mentioned earlier, about
I don't have a spouse, but I have been in a long-term relationship with my ex-boyfriend now of about 8 years, and for context, we've known each other since we were 14. Didn't date from then, obviously. And he's my best friend. And with that being said, there have been numerous times of us having a conversation and starting it. And what we both subconsciously did, I guess, is when we kind of had a hard time, we both kind of backed away and paused before we had that tough conversation, him mostly. before to bring it up. So when we took time away, and we'll say like, okay, we're not going to talk about this until 1 day or 2 days or 3, whatever. No more than 3 days, actually. No more than 3 days we'll have a discussion, because we did not want to start a discussion and emotions are high. And we wanted to make sure our emotions were, leveled and calm. And we just took each other, sat down quietly to the side, and he stated his argument, I stated mine, and where do we compromise? And are we able to see each other's views? And, okay, we move on, the next step, we squash this, let's move on, whatever we were planning to do or whatever. But we eventually had that conversation. And I think one of the biggest things is to not have ego take over, and for you to humble yourself and not put the I'm right, even though you may be right. Don't put the I'm right hat on when you're about to start a hard conversation.
All right. Well, interesting. Before that vox pop took place, I was going into a direction, but I'm going to ask Lady Misty. Lady Misty, Lady Misty?
Hear me?
I think are you back, Lady Misty?
Yes, I'm back.
Yes.
I was saying that's the truth right there. A part of having conversations is being humble about it, and especially in conversations where it is a tough one to have with a partner or a friend, or a business partner, whoever, whatever relationship it is very important that humility takes precedence in that conversation.
Yeah.
All right, so we are jumping over to part 5.
Yes.
And this is our last set of questions. Let's go. So, do you want to have kids? Why?
Hold on, Lady Misty, hold on. Tell us what these questions are about, though.
Okay, yes.
Put them into context.
So this is to getting to know your partner better. Now, all the questions is about getting to know your partner better. Now, if you have been following our conversation, if you have been following the questions, you notice that we start out with the basic. Okay, so you just met a guy, you just wanted to know the basic information, about your parents, all of that. Then we moved into deeper, more romantic questions, because it is hoped that you would have, been in this relationship for a while, you'd have gotten to know this person a little bit better. All right. And then now you move into the hot stuff. All right. So you have been intimate with this person. You are now closer to this person. So now you ask those steamy questions. Now you're thinking about, okay, hey, I think I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. Or, I'm at a point in the relationship or in the marriage because, maybe you have been married to this person, but you really have never asked these questions. So it depends on where you are in your relationship. And so these questions right here are to get to know your partner a little bit better, a little bit deeper. So here we go. And if you're in a relationship right now, mostly a long-term relationship, because I think these questions we're going to be asking are for those who are in long-term relationships or marriages. If you have not been asking these questions, that's why we're here to help you at LTR. Okay, so jot the ones down that you think you need to ask. Okay,
ask the questions. It's important. Yes.
Yeah. So, do you want to have kids? Why or why not? What kind of parent do you want to be? How do you feel about religion? What was it like to grow out of your religion or grow into one? Depending on where you are. What's your best habit? What's your worst habit? What does a perfect marriage look like to you? Please excuse my dogs outside. What would you like your life to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
What do you want to do when you're retired? Tell me about your best friend. If you have a best friend, what are they like? And why are they your best friends? How important is sex to you? What do you need when you are angry, stressed, or sad? That's an important question. Could you date someone who doesn't share your political views? That's a good one too. What do you hate? What's your deepest insecurity? Are you a jealous person? Is jealousy healthy in a relationship? So, do you have a green streak? You may need to know that. What types of activity did you enjoy as a kid? Do you still enjoy them now? Or do you still do them now? What would you consider a perfect day? Tell me your life story. Do you believe in unconditional love? What are your dating deal breakers? What's the number one thing you look for in a partner? Why do you think your past relationships haven't worked out? What kind of gifts do you like? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? What do you know about your family history? And number 28, last question for the night. What's something that you wish people would ask you about more often?
Wow.
All right, so there we go.
Who wants to go first? Don't matter.
I think I'll probably go first. Well, okay, before that, I think we have some comments in the comment section. We'll probably go there first and then come back to us. All right, so we have some comments. Minister Shavani.
All right, let me
go ahead.
Let me pull them up. I'm sorry, Marsha J. So, Minister Chevanet, good night and welcome to the show. Let me see if I can pull them up because I wasn't seeing. She's saying good questions. Yes, they are indeed good questions. So, are you someone who forced your belief on others or only respect your own religious beliefs and crap on anyone else's? That's a good question. And that's something to be looked into as well. Yes. Can I date someone who has to tell me about their religious beliefs every time adult conversations arise? I don't know, man. Those are questions.
Can't leave one without it. It's like American Express card.
Yes. Brown says, these are very good questions. And she's learning to let people speak without the need to correct or have an opinion. Yes. So, and over here on YouTube, every entertainer is saying that this is such judgment. I have my own spiritual awareness. All right. He also speaks about asking questions about STIs. Yeah. You got to go there. You've got to go there. So, yes, these are very good questions.
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I wouldn't say that it was hard for me to start a conversation with my spouse, but
guys, for chiming
having
in and
the conversation itself might be difficult at any point, depending on her mood, the time of day, specifically if she just got home from work, certain things like that. Gauging the atmosphere before answering or asking any particular questions that can be answered later or within the next day or two. So it's always a judgment call on my end.
Wow. All right. Marcia, you were saying?
Yes, I actually have some persons who are listening in and WhatsApping me. So they're saying to reiterate the topic for tonight. So the topic is 114 conversation starters for couples from deep to sexy. And it's from an article written by contributing sex and relationship editor Kelly Gonzalez. And I do really think that these questions are important. Sometimes as simple or maybe as deep as they are. Sometimes I also believe, even as a faith-based person, that we can also be so heavenly minded that we are no earthly good, and we don't know how to really balance conversations. And it's very important that we learn how to have these conversations in a setting that is not just about, religious conversations all the time, but it's really getting to know the person, because the person is there even first before their, belief in God and so on. And sometimes I'm even just speaking in the context of a wedding planner and having conversations with persons. I realize, and this is just the truth, I realize sometimes that persons don't really know their partner outside of thus said the Lord, and it makes you wonder, like, but you are planning on getting married and you don't even know what their favorite this or that is. Like, come on, like, how are you going to effectively communicate if you don't dive into some of these? And I'm really thankful for these questions, actually. Comment coming in, good night. I want a list of these questions. These will help you make the important decisions. Can I spend the rest of my life with this person? Yeah, I think they're in the comment section.
Yes, we can definitely.
They're on YouTube. That person's on YouTube, right? Yes.
Yeah, we can definitely have them
there. They're there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hand clap. I'm seeing Saturn Brownie. She says hand clap. Yes. Every entertainer. True. At Minister Chavonnet. It's on YouTube. Save the link. All right. And I think I see a couple more. And all conversation cannot cover every topic. That's true. And the opposite is also true. Like sometimes we go on dates and we have no game plan at all. We don't even know how to start a conversation. And it's just about ordering what's on the menu, eating it, and talking about, oh, hey, so how was your day today? Oh, what do you think about the weather? When there are more things that we could actually explore. Yeah. So I'm really happy for those questions tonight.
As a matter of fact, I like what you said, Marcia, because I've never heard so many questions like these in this setting, where so many and you're triggered by so many different ones. So I think it should spark something in us that questions are really important, and what you may not be asking, the person may be asking in their minds, and maybe not telling you, because sometimes people think what they don't ask, So it definitely let me want to be a little more aware and a little more assertive in rather than assuming, ask the question, It's
very
important.
True.
That is true. Tina? And we have Akeem Brown chiming in.
Yes.
Good night, everyone. First time here. These are good questions, but there are some good liars out there. Ha! Absolutely true. Absolutely.
That's where God comes in. So you can have discernment.
Discernment.
I mean, all these questions are good. All these questions are good, but I think it's a little bit more than knowing your favorite position,
That's very true. That's very true.
Because if you make a position your conversation, then that's going to be your marriage.
That's right.
We don't want to be married just for sex, because a lot of people do that, and that's
after the sex then what?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have another comment coming in as well. I worked at SRH Satin. Could you tell us what SRH is? The problem is not the conversation we have, but the silence we cultivate. Deadly.
Yes, that's true too.
Yeah.
That's true.
And silence does communicate. If you know how to read the silence, it does communicate. That something is wrong sometimes. So this is where words and actually having conversations are important. Okay, at sexual and reproductive health, yes. All right, yes.
One thing I learned, Lady Misty, when I was in high school, And now being a dad, I could only imagine what my kids might be hearing, because I had some sudden surprises out of nowhere, questions, images like, whoa, that you had no clue this came your way from some other kid who might have been exposed to an uncle or brother, a magazine, porn. I'm like, what's that? So I realized that these kind of conversations, and like I said, this program here is really about conversation, and even though as a believer, you have the church setting, and you have the concert setting, you may have the banquet setting, you may have the revival setting, but on the platform that speaks to over 160 countries, and some people not even understand about God and the Christ that we know and the belief faith that we have. You want to be able to reach and touch and affect and connect.
Yeah.
So I think that I've been hearing Marsha J and tonight, and hearing Tina, hearing their perspective and hearing their hearts, and hearing their responses. I think it's a blessing, and I think that as folks listen on in, they can now find their own voice in all of these questions, all of these thoughts, and find themselves even more. That at the end of the day, it is still, we being responsible and to our Creator, and being people that are going to grow and find balance, be it in a spiritual sense, in a physical sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I just
Lady
saw a
Misty.
comment from Satin Brownie that speaks about the younger people having these conversations and having them in a more mature way. You see that they're having the conversations you don't want to have with them, with people less qualified, and that's a dangerous place to be. And one of the things one of the difficulties I have in Christendom is that while we want to keep it God-centered, because hello, we are we are Christians, and that is our foundation, and we have godly principles, and we follow that, and that is the basis of how we live our lives. But one of the hang-ups I have with Christendom, as every entertainer is alluding to as well, is that I don't know why we are so afraid of these conversations. I don't know why, because we are in the world, but we are not of it. But there are things that are happening in the world that we have to guide our young people and lead them in the right directions. And if they don't see us as people to have these conversations with, they are going to go to the people who are less qualified. And if they don't see us as open people, people that they can conversate, people they can expose themselves to say, hey, I experienced this. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know what it's about. Can you talk to me about it? Things like these. And outside of sex, which is, still in 2021, taboo. I don't know why, and outside of that, just the art of communication is something that we don't do well as adults and as Christians as well. That's something that we don't do. And then when our children and our young people behave a certain way, or they communicate another way, then we're like, why are you behaving like that, and why are you shutting down, or whatever. But that's what they're seeing, that's what they're learning, because they are seeing that conversations, that's how results are. So the lack of communication and the silence and all of that, and our relationships don't thrive because it's hard to have a partner you can't talk to. Whether it's a sexual relationship or a business relationship, or just being a friend, or whatever relationship it is, it's hard to have that kind of person, and it's hard to talk to them. All right, trust and believe me, it's hard.
Conversation is important.
Yes, so it's very important. Satin Boni says Christians need to go through this self-awareness wheel. I sense, I think, I feel, I want, I do, see. And yeah, that's true. And awareness of self is important, because that is how you are going to know how to communicate. Once you know yourself and know how you communicate, then it's easier for you to communicate with other people. Interesting and fulsome conversation.
Agree with you, Lady Misty. And the truth is, for young persons, what we knew at their age, they are so much more advanced now that they know so much more younger, you know, because when I hear the conversations, you know, sometimes I'm in schools ministering and so on, and you really get real with them and you get them to be comfortable enough to have communication with them. In your mind, you're like, but when I was that age, I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, how did you get here? You know,
I tell you, as an educator, as a teacher who are around the children, I always say that these children keep me trending. Okay, because I consider myself as a young adult, but they keep me trending because there are things that I didn't even know that they knew, and there are things that they're teaching me because I'm not, I'm not in their world. I'm not deep into social media. I'm not following it up like that. So they will come and they will say, Miss, such and such and such. And I'm like, when did that happen? And they're like, Miss, what rock do you live under? I'm like,
so
you know, and they say like, yeah, I've seen this, I've watched these movies. I'm like, but hey, you have to be 18 older to do that art. I'm like, come on, it's social media and all of that. So
wow.
But
boy, I tell you, so Lady Misty, you know, as we look to wind down on this segment, this show here tonight, and again, I truly thank Miss Tina Devon for, you know, being here. It wasn't a long invitation; it was very short time, and she really was gracious enough and kind enough to be here to share with her thoughts. So, if you can just speak to the audience, Miss Devon, just tell us a little bit about maybe yourself, and that's pretty much what you think can come out of this show tonight that can be beneficial, they can pull from, and just empower them themselves, and as they move forward.
Okay. So I am in pharmaceuticals. I've been in pharmaceuticals for 17 years. I have a PhD in psychology. So when I just want to say this, being a Christian does not mean that we're all heavenly minded. When it comes to my book, As God is Your Foundation, God should be our foundation, I believe, for everything. Because without a sturdy foundation, whatever you build on the foundation will fall. No matter if you're building a house, no matter if you're building a school, the foundation has to be sturdy. And my thing is, in the book, it's teaching you as far as getting to know who you are. In a relationship, we have all these questions, but the questions that we're asking, have we actually asked these questions to ourselves? Do we really know what we want? Do we have an education? What do we bring to the table? You know, a lot of things come in play when it comes to a relationship, not just sex. Sex is important. Trust me, it is. But sex will come. But how about when the sex is over? How about when you got to pay the bills? How about when you have children and your children grow up and they have to go to school and no one has an education? So, I mean, I love the show. It is, it opened my eyes because, you know, when it came to sex and y'all were talking about that part, I was like, ooh.
I'm gonna cringe here. What's going on?
Because I've been celibate for 7 years. I've been celibate for 7 years, and that is because I just want to keep myself for my mate. And a lot of Christians aren't celibate. Let's just be honest. A lot of them aren't celibate. But, you know, I just believe that these conversations are good. Everyone is not me. Everyone is different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys are doing a great job. I just believe you should just incorporate just a little bit more of more sensible questions like, you know, hey, how about yourself? How about education? Where do you see yourself in the next 20 years? You know, things like that. And that's just my take.
All right. All right. Well, I truly, truly thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. And again, you've been a wonderful guest, and I appreciate you. The book, I want to get it myself, and I hope that you and as a matter of fact, repeat where they can find your book again. So
Okay.
Amazon.
Yes, just go to Amazon.com and just put in my first and last name, Tina Devaughn. That's TinaDeVaughn, and preparing yourself for your mate, and it will pop up.
Awesome, awesome. So again, thank you for being a wonderful guest, and
Thanks for having me.
Look forward to hearing more and more and more from you, Miss Tina Devaughn.
I enjoyed everyone.
Yes, and yes, and come again anytime. You're welcome here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, I think I just received another voice note that I'd like to play from a listener. If we have time for that.
Jane. Go ahead.
All right.
So good night. My name is Asya,
and feel free if you want to hang on. Okay, if you want to hang on for the rest of the show, is fine.
Very interesting.
Ms. Devaughn, it's quite fine if you want to hang on.
I started playing it. Are you able to hear?
It's a bit low. Can you play it again? It's kind of a shake. That was a bit skitty. Just to try it again, see what happens. It might be a little clearer next time.
So good night. My name is Alcia, and it's my first time listening in. Pertaining to when you ask the questions, you ask your question, but not just ask your questions. You trust yourself. Always trust your instinct. I am married now, but I was single for a long time. And every relationship that I went in that wasn't right, I knew it. Sometimes I didn't listen. I didn't trust myself. But if you trust yourself, you will know. Trusting yourself does not mean that you will not get hurt. Trusting yourself does not mean that things are always going to go right. Trusting yourself makes you comfortable with the decision you make.
The first
Yes. All right.
Let me know if you hear it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of static there. But again, guys, you can get a book on Amazon. Tina Devaughn, Prepare Yourself for Your Mate. So tonight, we do have a very very interesting show tonight because in a way it's a bittersweet experience because we
want to DJ KTE thank that listener for chiming in. Yes. And she made a very important point about instincts. We did a show a couple of weeks ago about red flags and all of that. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that she knows that we value her comment and we want to be happy for that. Yes, so just a reminder for those who have joined us tonight that we were discussing the topic 114 conversation starters for couples. Now these are not questions that we made up, okay? These are questions that somebody else wrote about. All right, from the Deep to Sexy article by Kelly Gonzalez. All right, so we want to
and if I might add, Lady Misty, if I might add, there were different questions. It wasn't just and one particular topic. It was all different questions, sex included.
Yes,
so
I
thought it was interesting myself.
You can go and check it out yourself.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
And I'm sure that our audience, they had their own questions. Persons wanted to know a little bit more about education, as Tina alluded to. Other persons wanted to know about religion and all of that. So, you have questions of your own, and these questions can help you even in your own relationship. You know your relationship, and you know which questions are more important to ask.
Yeah, and can I say this too? That this is just one person's list, because there are tons of other questions out there that we know
definitely
are very relevant to relationships. Let's not just lock it into these questions. This is just an article that did very well, was very successful, went very viral and things like that. I mean, it's about relationships, not necessarily about religion itself, just to put it into context.
Oh, sex is
right.
Involved,
it is
involved.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I do think the questions, they were relevant. It just depends on how you look at it. How you view the world, how your experience. It will determine whether or not you use these questions or you come up with questions of your own. And I did agree with Lady Tina when she was on, and she talked about getting to know yourself, and even with Althea, who sent the voice note about trusting yourself.
Yes.
In making choices. You have that sixth sense to say, go left, go right, do this, don't do that, things like that. Right? So it's very, very important for us to make the difference between the two.
Yeah.
The difference between the two. This is about getting to know your partner.
Yeah.
Right. And probably what we should have done earlier is really to define the context of when we say partner. Because if you're already locked into a marriage, that is your partner.
Exactly.
You don't have nowhere going.
Right.
Based on how you see marriage. You understand what I'm saying?
It's really knowing.
Because you never really know a person. You can't take the first year of marriage, second year of marriage, third. Persons are always changing and evolving based on what's happening, the changes that they're going through, hormonal
always taking place.
Changes, other things, different aspirations, what's new in terms of motivating you, and things like that. And you will need to ask questions. For us in the community, sometimes we don't even want to ask questions. We just rather sit in silence, and nothing is wrong with sitting in silence. But then again, you need to have a feel of where you want to go. What's happening with you, checking in with each other. And when you're checking with each other, it doesn't mean that, okay, we're just going to go out and eat. It means that I'm going to really try to tap in and
That's
to feel you, like where you know.
You have to be
like, I know where you were last year and what you were pursuing and how this excited you. Like, are you at the same place? Because I would want to know as a person, how do I support you? Are you regressing or are you progressing?
But that's a part of the relationship growth, Marsha J. So it's something you have to be intentional about. All right, because as you grow together, things will happen. Everyday life and all of that happens, and so it takes away from that deep conversations that you should have. And yes, you have the conversation. How was your day? Was good. All right, mine was good too. You were stressing. Okay, and then you just continue like that, and then that routine builds up. So if you're not intentional about having deep conversations and asking these questions, you have to be intentional and you have to be consistent.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. I always wonder why when I was younger, and when I was in church, I would hear these great testimony. Oh, I was a sinner, I was a wretch. I know I'm saved and sanctified on my way to heaven, right? But when I heard that, I didn't see the connection. I didn't see where they came from. Where did you come from? But I know where you're going though. But I felt that it was like a mask. I never saw real people. I saw people who just denying something that they and so it's weird. But I think these are platforms that are so important. These questions are very, very, very important. In fact, it opened my eyes even more. I'm always learning. I'm never stop learning. So
exactly.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Exactly. And you know what too? I think, the whole relationship thing is a real journey. Yeah. And if we're really gonna be very open as we close the show, if we're really gonna be very open and talk about connections and relationships, even with those persons who we may no longer be dating or have a relationship with, for those of us who are fortunate enough to still keep in touch with them and you resolve it to just being friends and you can actually track the journey, you will actually see how these conversations come in handy. And it helps you to coexist with the person.
Definitely.
You're not just looking at the person through a one-dimensional point of view. Because nobody is one-dimensional.
Exactly.
We may pretend like it's one-dimensional, but it's not.
It's so many.
Right. So we have to really dig in and like really get in there. That's just my thoughts anyway.
I hear you. I hear you. As a matter of fact,
Marsha J, thank you so much. Listen, you came here tonight and you drop your dimes and you drop your wisdom. Thank you so much. Listen, we are going to miss you here. Guys, for those of you who were just joining us, you are at the tail end. Oh, sorry you missed it, but you can watch it again. All right. But, you know, Marsha J, we want to thank you so much. Marsha J has been our producer for quite some time now.
Yes, she has.
You know, she's a hard worker. She's usually behind the scenes, you know, and you know, I want to thank her for just being there. She has personally been, you know, sitting keeping my chair warm while I was out for
great job, Marsha. Great job. Yes.
That keeping DJ KTE company, because I know he'd be lonely over
never
there.
Alone, never alone.
But you know, Marsha J, I wish you all the best on your endeavors. I know that you are going to do bigger and greater things. And I know I'm going to be hearing your name and your voice. And, you know, we're going to be spotlighting you. I know.
In Hollywood.
Yeah, I just feel it. I just feel it in my spirit. Come on, can I get an amen?
Yeah, and I want to thank especially the viewers who have been sticking and staying with us over time since we started LTR. It wasn't always LTR. We had another name before, and then we evolved into where we are now, and we could not have done it. Now we have over 4,000 subscribers. We're in 160 something countries, and it's not even us. It's you who keep telling persons tune in and watch for those who have gained value from the program, those who have written in with their problems, and we have the experts come in and really share their advice and give pointers. We've had even persons who have given their services for free to help those who support the station and are having issues. I want to say thank you to them and to the hosts of LTR, Lady Misty and DJ KTE, those behind the scenes, Lady Trisha that just joined in, and DJ Kelly, who is the engineer. You know, I really enjoyed the camaraderie and the teamwork and all of these things. You know, it's I'm passionate about love. I'm passionate about media, so this is like right up my street.
So in other words, it could very well be not a goodbye, but see you later, right? You never know.
Very much.
See you later. See you later. All right. So to close out tonight, let me just say thank you all over there on Facebook, over there on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was indeed a fulsome night. Great conversation, great questions, great engagement. Thank you so much for chiming in. To close us out tonight, I'm going to be sharing a poem with you. It is called Desiderata. I hope I pronounce it properly. It means all things needed or wanted. All right. So I want to share this poem with you. It is from the early 1920s. It is a prose poem by the American writer Max Ehrmann. And it reads, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially
Do not feign affection, neither be critical about love, for in the face of all heredity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself in imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace within your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be careful. Strive to be happy. Good night, everyone. This has been Let's Talk Relationships. Have a good one.
Yes.
Let's talk
Relationships on UMEradio.
So what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business,
and love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
and DJ KTE
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UMEradio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on UMEradio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments for the grown.
Get the UMEradio app to listen wherever you are. That is UMEradio, one word.
UME Radio, positive entertainment 24/7.